Ian McKeever. I'm essentially a painter. I paint large, what I guess ostensibly would be called abstract paintings. I also work with printmaking, make a lot of works on paper, particularly with gouache, using a brush, and occasionally make photographic pieces as well. It's changed in the sense that in my early years I had to find the money to work. Initially that was through doing various manual jobs, etc. And then I moved on to teaching in art schools. And so for a number of years I worked on my own work part of the time and taught some days in the week. But for the last 25 years or so I've worked exclusively on my own work. So now I work every day on the work itself. I love the quality of gouache. I love its ability to be both used as the equivalent of a watercolour in very, very fine washes, or alternatively to be built up in quite an opaque way. And the nature of gouache is that it has this wonderful kind of dry quality to it. It's a very sensuous quality, quite unique I think, and the colour is very intense. And I've worked for many years with gouache as a medium, and so I use quite a lot of Winsor Newton gouache. I have to say I'm a bit picky about colours, so I do occasionally go to other brands. But Winsor Newton are a sort of staple of the work, the paint that I use to actually work with the gouaches. I love the early Italians, the Trecento, Duecento painters, and the period before painting, Western painting, particularly Italian painting, went over to oil painting. There was a freshness to the colour, for instance, in Piero della Francesca, Simone Martini, these artists who are working with egg tempera. There's this wonderful freshness and crispness of the colour, a kind of delicacy to the colour, which when in the late 14th, 15th century oil paint takes over, the colour becomes much fatter and much kind of lumpy and much more physical, and yet it's that earlier quality that I'm actually drawn to. I think one of the issues now to do with painting, and actually to do with most media and even colour, is the ubiquitousness of everything, the availability of everything. And therefore we take everything being different colours now, multicoloured plastics, everything, the digital age and the kind of hypercolour that exists in the digital world. We take all of this for granted as being a part of our daily lives. And yet, how often do we actually really stand still and look at a colour, actually just get into a colour? So I think I would hope that they would go away thinking, okay, colour is something actually to be looked at of itself. There is actually a quality in it, something in it, which intrinsically is significant, especially in relationship to painting. One of the qualities of paint, whether it's gouache or it's oil paint or what have you, is that they have this incredible materiality. They have a physical presence, so one isn't just simply depicting something. One is actually working with a material that has a physical presence. So with the gouache, it's this extraordinary quality of fragility and sometimes gouache colours, they can almost appear as if they're there but not there. They're like, you put your hand in front of a sheet of paper or something with gouache and it's like it's pulsating in front of you. And it's this capacity of paint to, if you like, jump over being its material, jump over being just this stuff coming out of a tube, to the point where it actually becomes something that is almost transcendental in a way, and has another kind of life, has almost a kind of a conscious life of its own, which actually intrigues me. And how, as a painter, you make that jump. You jump from that material to that physicality. You know, one of the beautiful things about painting is that if you're working with gouache or something, you mix it with water to get it perhaps more transparent or something like that. And there's this incredible fluidity going on, which is both controllable and uncontrollable at the same time. So you're drawing on all your experience to try and hold it where you want it to be. But at the same time, it's already forming a life of its own. It's already pooling and gathering in perhaps more concentrated areas in a totally different way than you actually expected it to do. And then when the color dries out, you know, there's a shift again in the quality of the color, in how it actually looks on the surface of the paper. And this push and pull between control of the material and allowing it to actually be itself, to actually express itself as a material, is something I'm endlessly drawn to, and in a sense never feel I get on top of, and actually would never want to get on top of. I would always want it to be something that eluded me. I don't have one. There are certain colours I'm very resistant to. I'm very resistant to purple. And I have never in my life painted a yellow painting. So there are certain colours that I've shied away from. But I don't have a favourite colour. If there is one colour, and it's that interesting colour white, which is sort of a colour and a non-colour at the same time, the elusiveness of it, the furtiveness of it, the kind of its ability to always be something slightly other than pure white interests me enormously, and constantly draws me back to it. And it's almost a kind of like a leaf motif that is running through my work all the time. So I wouldn't call it my favorite color. I would say it's certainly a color that intrigues me enormously.